Oh, what about you? What about you? You're all very welcome, especially, of course, my little band of Patreon followers. Now, if you happen to enjoy these rants and maybe you'd be kind enough to join their number, and in doing so, help me to continue to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So, yes, just look for Patreon at Jake O'Kane and you'll get the stuff first off and a whole lot of it all together. And you don't have to wait to look on it online during the week and all that stuff. And there'll be other wee bits and pieces during the year. There will be other wee bits and pieces, especially for Patreon people. Now, I have a health warning this week as I'm a wee bit angry. I know you'll find that hard to believe, me who's so calm and laid back and controlled, but I'm a wee bit angry this week. I have come across examples of levels of ignorance and stupidity which would make the Dalai Lama himself throw the head into somebody. I swear to God, just throw the head into him. We begin, as all too often now, across the Atlantic in the nation once known as America, but which is quickly morphing into a sick and twisted version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You couldn't make this stuff up, people. You couldn't make it up. Now, way back in 2016, when Hillary Clinton ran against Trump for the presidency, her alleged mishandling of official communications via a private email server, that put paid to her campaign and just handed it to the Donald. You know, when the Republicans learned that when she had been Secretary of State, Clinton had communicated via private email, they went mad. They went mad. They demanded answers. And of course, a compliant FBI played the role of Cyber Knight and conducted an investigation, which, wouldn't you know it, eventually concluded that while Clinton and her team had been, shall we say, careless, there had in fact been no malicious intent in their actions. Now, of course, this came too late for the Clinton campaign, with the general public doubting then her judgment and therefore believing that she couldn't be trusted as Commander-in-Chief of the US military. And look who they've got now. Seriously. This week, we had the unbelievable revelation that top Trump security advisor Michael Waltz had invited Atlantic journalist Jeffrey Goldberg onto a Signal group. Signal being a very secure, encrypted messaging service is popular with both journalists and politicians who seek a higher level of privacy than can be obtained on normal messaging services. Well, but what happened was, this beggars belief, that the journalist, having been invited into the chat room, was fed in real time highly confidential information about an upcoming attack by the US military on Houthi rebels in Yemen. Now, the Houthis are an Iran-backed terrorist organisation who'd been attacking international shipping for the last number of years. And their motto is, would you believe it? God is great, death to America, death to Israel, curse on Jews and victory to Islam. Which, not surprisingly, would indicate that they're a pretty good target for the American military. Now I'm not going to go into all the minute details, as they've already been heavily reported. But suffice to say, the most egregious leak of highly sensitive military information occurred, complete with emojis, and jingoistic self-congratulatory messages that would not have looked out of place in a US university frat house. The comparison between Clinton's use of a private email server and the leak on Signal is stark. Never before has the US been so ridiculed for both incompetence and ineptitude, with the Signal leak proving that those at the very top of Trump's security operation are at best amateurish and at worst a clear and present danger to US national security. Now, not surprisingly, you won't be surprised, but the response from the Trump administration has been the expected denials. I didn't see that, didn't hear that, know none about it, right? Obfuscation and bluster. This is best encapsulated and demonstrated by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who bristled when asked and confronted by British Sky journalist Martha Kellner about the whole debacle. Well, this was Greene's response.
Yep. Anybody else?
Should the Defence Secretary...
What country are you? Wait, what country are you from?
From the UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting. Why don't you go back to your country where you have a major migrant problem?
Okay.
And no. You should care about your own borders.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
Let me tell you something. Do you care about people from your country? What about all the women that are raped by migrants?
Do you care
No,
about...
by migrants. No, do you care? Okay, you're done.
Do you care about American lives being put at risk?
You know what? I don't care.
Service members fighting for your country.
I don't care about your fake news. Do you have a relevant question? Yeah, this is an American journalist. Thank you.
I'm an American, and I'd like to hear your answer to what she's asking.
I'm not answering her question because I don't care about her network. If you would like to ask, I can answer.
Do you have any concerns whatsoever about the complete disregard of operational security from the top level of this administration?
You want to know about complete disregard about operational security? You should talk about the Biden administration and how they ripped our borders open to terrorist, cartel, child sex trafficking, human trafficking, and drug trafficking across our borders for 4 years. The Trump administration is doing a great job, and I stand by their statements. I stand by their statements. My comment to you is I'm thankful to President Trump that he is leading us out of wars, that he's ending the war in Ukraine, where American lives could have been killed if Joe Biden was still president today, whether he liked it or not. We're talking about NPR and PBS today. We're talking about fake news that was funded with federal funding from American taxpayers. That's what this is about today, not journalists from the UK that should care about their...
A journalist is being vilified for exposing...
And Marjorie Taylor Greene is also known by her initials, MTG. I would suggest she'd be better described as CWT, or cheap white trash. Oh, yeah. Marjorie's natural home really isn't the Congress, but rather Walmart, where she'd no doubt be seen hanging over one of them shopping trolleys, right? Containing $20 of fast food meals for say, 6 children fathered by 5 different men, along with $50 of hard liquor for herself. Hey. Of course, she'd end her shopping by being arrested, having assaulted someone at the checkout who'd refused to accept government food stamps to cover her alcohol purchases. And so, with Marjorie and signal leaker Michael Waltz now running the US government, times have never been better for us comedians. It's right in itself. But I can tell you, I'm certain of 3 people who'll be laughing themselves to sleep. They are North Korea's Kim Jong-un, Russia's Vladimir Putin, and China's Xi Jinping. Oh, they're going to be laughing themselves sick with this. Ho-ho! My comments last week about the cancelling of Irish comic Garron Noone garnered a big response, large response. Now, Garron, thankfully, he's back online. He's back online, where I hope he'll be allowed to continue to entertain and inform. He's a great act. Now, because I supported what Garron had said, and yet again denounced the bottom-feeding trolls who'd attacked him, I, not surprisingly, also became the target of their bile. No. This is nothing new for me, as I've been handling such morons since first opening my social media accounts. Now, my usual response is to not respond. I just block or mute and move on. But uncharacteristically, boys and girls, I have to admit this week, I was goated and uncharacteristically. I couldn't resist having a wee bit of a crack back at a few of them. Because what seemed to really infuriate my southern friends, those south of the border, my Mexican compatriots, was the fact that I had the temerity to comment about Ireland whilst having both a Union and an England flag up there. Now, that wouldn't go down well. Like, there was 2 of them, both Dara and Rick, for example, were incensed. I therefore felt obliged to explain the reason for the flags being there. So I said, the flags behind me are props I used in a sketch show on BBC Northern Ireland. A sketch which has over 1 million views, believe it or not. Yes, it does indeed. Of course, you boys wouldn't know this, because your antecedents capitulated to the British in 1921, accepting partition and selling out the northern part of your country. As for being Irish, I'm a descendant of the O'Cahan clan, one of the most ancient in the whole of Ireland. Do you know what I mean? And we predate Ireland by millennia. We are, in fact, Celts. So, with the utmost respect, I would like to say to both of you, go fuck yourselves, you quizzling Free Staters. I think I was too far. I don't know if I was too far. Don't know if he underplayed that or overplayed it. Do you know what I mean? But it is an example. It is an example of why I seldom reply. I mean, those poor ignorant children, they're going to be traumatized. They'll be traumatized for years. And that'll keep me awake at night. I'll be lying awake at night worrying about them children. Are they all right? Like, can they dress themselves? Are they able to cross the road by themselves? Or do people still need to help them? It's going to keep me awake, that. It really is. There was a time when you could have fitted a TUV annual conference into a hotel broom cupboard. Indeed, only 2 years ago, in 2023, I joked about it, putting this cartoon I made online. Well, Jim Allister's had the last laugh. For this year, he attended his conference as a conquering hero.
It was the box office moment in last year's election. Snatching the North Antrim seat off the DUP made Jim Allister a hero in the TUV story.
The moment you've been waiting for, the undisputed heavyweight champion of North Antrim, Jim Allister.
Yes, Jim's back. And as always, his riveting rhetoric to the audience had them in bewilderment, wonderment, and paralysed. But there is even representation of the TUV Youth Party in the shape of one. We Jonathan Jackson, who happens to be a student at Trinity College in Dublin, though I do not think he would have shared that with the assembled congregation of TUV members, for if he had, there is a very distinct chance they would have lit the wicker man outside the building and thrown him in it. But Jonathan was proud of his orangism and the like. He's very proud of it. This is what he had to say.
I think unionism and young people, we don't have to be scared of our culture. I think for me, why I am proud of orangism and the like, is I think that there is something positive there. It's not about being bigoted.
Wait for it. I feel it in the air. I think I know what's coming next. I think I know. There's going to be some comment like, some of my best friends.
Like my closest friends in Dublin are called Oisin and Gerard. I'm sure if they see this, they'll have a laugh. But
I knew it. Some of my closest friends in Dublin are called Oisin and Gerard. You're right there, Jonathan. You bet them laughing. You're going to be right. If they see this, they're going to be laughing, all right, Jonathan. They're going to be laughing as they piss in your coffee when you aren't looking, Jonathan. That's where the laughter's going to be. Jonathan was querying why unionism seems to be in the slide.
Because as you say, the polls for a lot of nationalism, it seems to be on the up. But what can unionism do to counteract this? And again,
what can be done? I can help you with this one, Jonathan. I can help you, son. I can help you with this one. What can be done? You can play your part, Jonathan. You can play your part. You need to stop talking and start shagging, Jonathan. That's what you need to start doing. You need to get a bit. Yeah, definitely. There's too many peepies, too few pros. What are you going to do here, Jonathan? Talking's not going to do the business, son. You're going to have to get active. You know what I mean? And I believe deep down, this is the crux of the matter regarding Jonathan. I was once the same as Jonathan. No, not a unionist loyalist. Ginger. Yes, beneath this grey beard behides a ginger. Most of my life, I was ginger, and I know the difficulties gingers have in getting, I know what it's like. Well, to be this collagen depleted, unable to go into the sunshine, we live our lives like vampires, Draculas. We only come out at night. And it's very hard for collagen depleted gingers to meet the opposite sex. And I think this is Jonathan's hope. I think by doing this, going to the TUV, Jonathan had this plan. You see, I think he had a plan that some female loyalist woman, right, with her sash would see Jonathan, a young woman would see Jonathan, be overcome with passion for such a man with such rhetoric, and she would tear her sash off and ravish him. It's very unlikely. No, it's sad, but it's very, very unlikely. But as Jonathan is studying in Dublin, right, in the dreaded Republic, I am putting out this mercy call to any papish females in and around the Dublin area who see Jonathan and feel a modicum of compassion for a wee ginger unionist, desperate for a bit of Fenian loving. Have mercy on Jonathan, for even us gingers deserve to be loved. Reach out and gather him up in your Fenian arms and have at him, ladies. I'm telling you, have at him. And when you do so, remember you do this not just for Jonathan. You do it for all of us up here, up north. Because we're looking at Jonathan and we're terrified. We're terrified that the old, angry, sexually repressed Jim Allister is about to morph into the young, angry, sexually frustrated Jonathan Jackson. So in the name of God, in the name of everything, show mercy. Show some mercy. And show that child some good old style Fenian loving. Staying with the TUV in the shape of MLA Timothy Gaston, well, he put a complaint into the Standards Commissioner about Michelle O'Neill, who he argued had misled a Stormont committee and therefore broken the ministerial code by claiming that she hadn't known the whereabouts of Michael McMonigal after he left the party. Now, if those who don't remember, McMonigal was jailed having been convicted of charges around child sex offences. And he had been given two references by two Sinn Féin press officers for his new job at the Chest, Heart and Stroke Association. Even though both those press officers knew that he was under investigation at the time for the offences he eventually got jailed for. Okay, they subsequently resigned from the party. Now, the fact that Michelle O'Neill attended an event held by the charity, same charity in Stormont, and was pictured only feet away from McMonigal. Here's the actual picture. Now, how close is that? That's going to be a couple. Is that 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet? It's like, well, this led to some people arguing that she surely had to know about his whereabouts and new employment. So stand beside him, for God's sake. Stand beside him. But then she said she didn't see him. She said she did not see him. And the Commissioner for Standards agreed with her, saying that the First Minister did not see Mr. McMonigal in Parliament buildings on February the 14th, 2023, and had no interaction with him on that day. Which is fair enough. Like, who hasn't done that? We've all done it. We've all sort of walked past somebody we knew. We've all done this. And somebody stands, you don't even know they're there. I think it's, like, I know I've done it in the past. I know I have done it on many occasions. Many occasions I did it, which led me to go to the opticians to get tested, right? And it was discovered that I had cataracts in both eyes, necessitating the replacement of the lenses in both my eyes. That's why I don't wear glasses anymore. I had to get the lenses taken out, new lenses put in. There you go. So maybe, just maybe, it's a serious point here. Maybe, even though Michelle's got the big glasses, big glasses, maybe Michelle needs to get her eyes tested. I'm not being funny here. I'm not being funny. That wee woman could walk out in traffic or anything. She could walk out in the traffic. She could shake hands with an orangutan and think she was shaking hands with Donald Trump. Think how embarrassing that would be for the orangutan. The slaughter in Gaza continues unabated, with the IDF now bombing buildings they've already bombed 2 or 3 times previously and herding the Palestinian people north, south, east and west. What we should not forget is this form of ethnic cleansing, because that's what's going on. This is not a recent phenomena. It's been going on for decades, where we've had Zionist Israeli settlers breaking long-standing, legally binding agreements by moving onto Palestinian land and using violence and intimidation to force out the people who've been living there for a lifetime. Now, there was an attack that highlights this during the week, and it's an utterly surreal attack because it involved a man called Hamdan Bilal, right? Now, what made his case strange was that only 3 weeks previously, he'd stood on the stage at the Oscars and won one for his film called No Other Land, which, would you believe it, highlighted the destruction of a Palestinian community on the occupied West Bank. Now, the attack that was perpetrated against him and his family by Israeli settlers, well, it's filmed. The film of it happening in Susha, where he lives.
Let go! No, don't do that! Let go! Let go! No! Hey, no!
Can we go back to the car? Guys, back to the car, back to the car.
And I have to give some credit now. Now, the IDF, or I call them Israeli Genocide Force, well, on this occasion, they did intervene. Usually they never do. Usually they just let the Zionists do whatever they want. In this case, they did intervene against 20 Israeli settlers attacking Mr. Bilal and his family, and they went straight in there and arrested Mr. Bilal. He was held overnight, and he was finally released with no apology from the IDF, who accused him of rock hurling.
But you can say it's like the citizens, soldiers attacking my home and start to beating me and they threaten me with the guns. I heard the voices of the soldiers. They like laughing about me because I don't know. They said I heard like Oscar, but I didn't speak Hebrew. Maybe about that. I don't know.
This attack is important because it proves that the Zionist settlers now are completely emboldened. They feel no fear from any quarter. They give not one damn for any outside judgment of their actions. They now are given carte blanche to do exactly what they want. And where does this come from? Trump, the Donald, who has sworn his unwavering support for their cause, even though their cause is criminal, even though their cause breaks every international law, even though their cause involves ethnic cleansing. The home of the brave and the land of the free seemingly has no problem with that if you happen to be Palestinian.
You'll do nothing. You hear me? You'll do nothing.